Do you like the luxury things in life? Well, about 2 million people in the U.S. last year bought a luxury car, but which of the brands are they flocking to?
Today we're going to go through the main options and see which brand came out on top. The sales don't lie, so let's go ahead and count them down.
All right, so let's start with the losers of 2024, the three worst-selling luxury brands in the U.S. Well, we'll start with the Infiniti brand. That actually takes the lowest-selling luxury brand slot. They only sold about 58,000 cars last year, which is down 10% even over last year. Now, unfortunately, Infiniti's had a little bit of a rough go-around recently when it comes to sales. I'm sure you might already know that, but hopefully the new QX80 will help boost their sales heading into next year. I know that was a little bit of a slow rollout, so it didn't really take hold much this year.
Yeah, and I think what I've heard is that it has started off at least pretty hot. Now the other two are JLR, Jaguar Land Rover. Of course, Jaguar is basically being phased out completely. And then Genesis as well. I do want to talk about Genesis a little bit because their sales have actually been increasing rapidly over time. They're the newest kind of luxury brand, and one that really for the very first time this year is actually starting to get a dealership footprint. They previously didn't even have that at all, so I think that's going to make a huge difference going forward in 2025, that you can actually go to a dedicated Genesis dealership in a lot of your major metropolitan areas.
Yeah, sales were actually up about 9%, and they have been consistently over the past couple years, so I expect that to only increase next year. Now, the next three luxury brands represent kind of the middle of the pack. They're not the best-selling luxury brands, but they're also certainly not the worst. This one actually surprised me. The eighth best-selling luxury brand is Lincoln. 104,000 units sold in 2024, which actually represents a massive 28% increase over last year. Now, Lincoln cited that this was mainly because of the sales success of their new Nautilus product, which I do have to agree with is a quite good luxury midsizer. And then as we move on, the Volvo brand had a pretty good year, selling 125,000 units. That is actually down a little bit over last year, but hopefully with the addition of their new XC products coming out, that might help boost their sales up a little bit.
Right, that new XC90, or heavily refreshed, I should say, is starting to roll out in the U.S. right now, so that should really impact them in the coming year, as well as some of their new electric products like the EX90.
And wrapping things up with the number 6 best-selling luxury brand, that's Acura. 132,000 units sold this year. Acura has made some improvements to their current lineup, such as the MDX. I got a pretty big refresh this year, although its overall sales are down actually quite a bit this year, so maybe they can benefit from adding a couple new models to the lineup. The ADX is coming out, so...
Right, they already have kind of one of the smallest luxury lineups. Not too many products, but they are expanding with that upcoming ADX, which we should be testing out in about a couple months. And then, of course, just being able to update that RDX, I think that's a major product line that's getting older for them.
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars.
All right, but we have made it to the top 5 best-selling luxury brands, and I can't wait to share these with you because they're actually, a little bit different than in normal years. So the 5th best-selling luxury brand in 2024 is Cadillac, selling 160,000 units, so quite a bit of an increase over the Acura sales, and it's going to be up around 9% this year. That's a big increase this year.
Yeah, for sure. And if you dig into the individual models, you can see you get a big bump when it comes to Escalade and Lyriq. Lyriq is a big one that stands out. That's their 2nd best-selling product last year. And of course, that is a brand new electric product. So I think they've got to be really happy with these sales figures, and especially going into 2025, where we're going to see the smaller Optic, the larger Vistic. Those are going to be entering the lineup. And especially if they maybe considered updating their XT5 and 6, the sales, I think, are only going up.
Yeah, well, and of course the refreshed Escalade. You can't forget about that. That's probably going to drive a lot of new buyers into the brand as well. Now on to the fourth best-selling luxury brand, and that is going to be Audi. They sold 196,000 units this year, and honestly, guys, that is going to be one of the most disappointing performances on this entire list in 2024. It's actually down double digits over 2023 sales, and I honestly don't see that changing anytime soon because a lot of their products are getting a little bit older, especially their really hot selling products such as the Q5 and Q7. Those are getting old, that's for sure. Now, of course, there is that new Q5 that...
Yeah, it's supposed to be out in the middle of the year. So hopefully that second half of 2025 is going to heat up for them when they finally get that new Q5 out. But if you look into the actual sales figures, Q5 and Q7 are their main selling model lines here in the US, and they're both down like 20-something%, which is crazy. That's definitely going to hurt overall. But hopefully they're going to get some more traction going with some of those main models as well as some of the new EVs that they're putting out. Now, heading into the top three, you're going to notice a massive jump. So these top three products have really traded blows for years about who's going to be the top brand, second, and third. And you'll notice it's a massive jump from Audi. At the number 3 spot is Mercedes-Benz, selling 130,000 more units than Audi last year.
Yeah, 324,000 is their official number. Now, Mercedes cited that they had really strong sales when it came to actually their expensive products. They specifically were bragging about the G-Class doing really well for them, which, of course, that's a fantastic product. I do really like that vehicle. But I think that they're really benefiting from Audi's lack of sales because especially when you're looking at German luxury brands, a lot of times they do kind of, bounce between BMW, Mercedes, and Audi, and certainly, I think that only stands to help Mercedes-Benz. They're up 9% year over year. Now, what is the second best-selling luxury brand in the U.S. in 2024? Well, that is going to be a hint. The brand that we're sitting in right now, that is Lexus. They sold 345,000 units in 2024, which is actually their best sales ever, and it's up 7% over last year. Now, why is that the case? Well, Lexus really has revamped their lineup a lot. New products in their lineup include the GX, the RX, the TX. Those are really, hot SUVs on the market. And also they have a ton of powertrain choices. You have hybridized options, traditional gas options, plug-in hybrid. And I think all of that together is really helping the brand have very strong sales overall.
Yeah, for sure. And I think those hybrid powertrains, maybe even more of a selection than all the other luxury brands. It's really quite impressive. A little weak, though, on the EVs, that's for sure. But we're expecting Lexus to kind of jump into that segment in the next year or two to give you some more good options for EVs.
Well, what does that leave? Well, that leaves us the number one best-selling luxury brand, which is BMW. They sold a record year for them, 371,000 units in the U.S. last year. Apparently, people really like those big grills that everyone likes to hate on in the comments because almost 400,000 units. That is really impressive. Jokes aside, I think they do have a really good lineup, and they also have, a wide breadth of options. So they have plug-in hybrids. They have actually a lot of EVs, and I can't remember the exact figure, but I want to say they sold almost 60,000 EVs last year, which they were quick to point out is an explosive growth over previous years, which has really helped their overall bottom line for sales figures.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Mason was saying, I do find it to be funny because they have stirred up a lot of controversy in recent years. And it seems like, people,
it's so ugly.
Yeah, people aren't going to be buying these because they don't look the way they used to and stuff. But apparently it is not harming their sales. It's actually increasing their sales, maybe having a little bit more of a spicier option, because previously they were very conservative. They kind of looked the same year after year, generation after generation. Now they're really not looking the same. They're really changing things up, and it seems that that's working for them.
Yes, so full disclosure, we do actually own a BMW. That's a little bit more of the traditional design language, our 3 Series. And I would argue that when it comes to sales, their best-selling cars do still have the traditional design language as well. The X5 certainly looks, pretty classic BMW. We'll see what they do in the future. But guys, that's going to wrap up this sales figures countdown video. Hopefully you enjoyed learning about the best-selling luxury brands in the U.S. in 2024. I know it's a little bit different than our typical video on this channel, but we want to just kind of keep you updated on the auto industry in general. And if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, we'd really love to welcome you in to our family. We have a lot of fun on this channel. I promise you won't want to miss out. And we also have a lot of other types of content such as car reviews, comparisons, countdown videos, and long-term vehicle video series.
And videos on pretty much every vehicle that every one of these luxury makes has in their lineups.
Also, if you're looking to buy any of the vehicles that you heard about in this video, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes, because on our website, we have a tool that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. But that's going to be where we leave off. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care.